Okay, I'm live. Um, hey, my Facebook family. I'm going live again today, and I just wanted to share something that happened to me previously, and just feel like it could really help you in your relationship. And the question that I was talking about today is, have you ever felt emotionally disconnected and lonely? I know I have. And I just wanted to share something briefly with you about my journey and how I had to deal with feeling emotionally disconnected and lonely. So, when I was in my first marriage, there was a time that I felt lonely, I felt emotionally disconnected, and I realized it when I was one day when I was in my basement and I was listening to Luther's song, Anyone Who Has a Heart. I love me some Luther, and I hope other people can relate to that. Tell me you can relate to that because I love me some Luther. So I was in my basement. I would go down there sometimes and just listen to music. So I was down there and I was listening to Luther, and how it just hit me all of a sudden, and I was like, wow, I'm feeling really lonely and emotionally disconnected. And it wasn't a good feeling, right? You're feeling lonely, you're feeling disconnected. You're married, right? So just imagine being that way, and you're married. You feel like I should be feeling this way. I should be happy and content and feeling good about what's happening in my relationship. However, my husband and I had been struggling in our relationship. We've been arguing, we've been feeling disconnected. We were struggling with our communication and blaming each other for whatever was going on, right? You know how we do that blame situation, right? And we were so busy looking at what the other person's faults were, right? Instead of looking at ourselves. We have that tendency that we will look at the other person. It's your fault. Why you didn't do this and why you didn't do that, and why are you making me feel this way, right? So we have a tendency to blame, go through that blame game, and it continues to make you feel disconnected because you're arguing, you're not talking to each other, you're talking at each other, right? You're not really getting anything accomplished because you're feeling like, okay, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. So we just shut down, right? We just shut down. We just gave up, and we were just living in the house together. Felt like roommates. I don't know. Tell me, have you ever felt like that? Like you just felt like you're living in your home and you're just a roommate, right? You're not really husband and wife. Yeah, you're husband and wife. You're still sleeping in the same bed, but you're just feeling like roommates, like nothing is getting through, like you're just so tired and exhausted of the roller coaster of being disconnected, of feeling lonely, and it just makes you feel bad, right? You just don't know which way to go. You don't know what to do. You don't know who to talk to about it. You don't know how to resolve it. You just don't know because you're in this vicious cycle, right? So you're really sad. You're truly trying to understand what to do. So what I did was I realized that I had to take ownership, that I had to shift my thoughts, right? I had to think about what I could do to change the dynamic, right? I had to focus on me. I had to focus on what the things that I could do to change what was happening with us, right? And I had to think about what would make me happy, and I started doing self-care. I started taking care of myself. I started focusing on me to identify the areas in which I knew that I could be doing things to make me feel good, right? And then I started spending time learning about how I could help things, how it was up to me to change how I was feeling, how I was approaching the situation, how I was talking to my husband, right? How I was treating him, right? I mean, all of those things come into play when you take the time to look at yourself and you start understanding that it starts with you. And so I started reading everything I could find to help me in a relationship, right? Help me be a better person, help me be a better wife. And then I thought about how I could approach the topic with my husband. First of all, okay, I worked on myself. I figured out ways in which I could be better myself, and how in turn how that could help me be a better wife, right? So during that process, I was able to uh, take action. I just took action, and that is the key. We have to take action. We have to do something different than what we were already doing. So by taking action, I was able to turn my marriage around. I was able to start having that dialogue with my husband and talking to him about the way I was feeling and finding out that he was feeling the same way, right? Remember, I was talking about we were disconnected, right? We were living in the same house, but we really weren't being husband and wife at the same time. So by taking action and by doing something different and first starting with looking at yourself to see which way that you could choose to be different, because everything is a choice. So I chose to be different. I chose to take ownership of my part in the disconnection, right? In me feeling lonely in my relationship. And I just felt like by me taking ownership and me, like I said, reading everything and figuring out ways in which I can show up better in my relationship, be kinder, be loving instead of blaming, right? Like I said, we have a tendency to blame each other, and we have a tendency to look at the other person and feel like the other person is the bad guy. But instead of looking at that, I looked at his positive qualities. I looked at what he was doing right instead of looking at what he was doing wrong. So that changed the dynamic of the relationship. That helped us to mend what was happening in our relationship and go through the process of talking to one another and being able to see each other and see our parts in what we played in the situation, right? So it's always about what you could do to get unstuck, to feel like you could be a better version. And that's what I did. And that's what I'm so excited about, because I changed the dynamic because I started with myself first. And then I chose to be different in how I showed up in my marriage. So even though it was a sad time, we struggled, we had a hard time, I just felt like being able to show up authentically, uh, first of all, looking at myself and being able to be a different person in my relationship really changed everything. And I hope that just sharing this with you can show you that even though whatever's going on in your relationship, however you're feeling, it can change. It can be different. We have to make choices. We have to choose to look at the roles that we're playing and how in those roles how we can change them. And when we change ourselves, we can show up differently. So I showed up as a better wife, as a better person, and so I was able to really enjoy my marriage and really figure out the different things that we can continue to do to make sure that we are taking care of each other and building up our relationship. But like I said, I really hope that this is helpful to see that, even though I'm a relationship and intimacy coach, I've gone through my struggles and trials and tribulations like everybody else, but I've learned how to change it. And because of my research, because of my studying, because of actually helping other couples figure this out as well, I just feel like there's something that if we could just take a moment, no matter where we are in our relationships, just take that moment to understand that how we can change the dynamic of where we're at, and that we can always move forward in making that decision to do so, because we have to make the decision to move forward. So wanted to share that, wanted to say even though it was hard, we got through it, we got past it, and I just wanted to let you know that you could do the same thing as well. So hopefully again that this was helpful. This is Deborah B. Hamilton, your intimacy coach. If you have any comments, I would love to hear any comments that you might have, any thoughts that you might have, and I'm always here for you. I tell you that all the time. I'm here for a conversation to help guide you and lead you. So again, I shared something really personal. I hope that you really got something out of it to see that no matter where you're at in your relationship, you could always get past it. So I hope you guys will enjoy the rest of your day, and let me know. Let me know if you're here today. Say hi to me, and if you are watching the replay, hashtag replay. I would love to get your feedback and how you felt about what I shared with you today. So signing off. Take care.